Hey, what's up, guys? It's Renaldo here. So, what? No. No. You want me to defend Anton Taylor, the guy that literally said he pleasured himself after hearing about my downfall. That crude arsehole. Oh, wait. Okay. I know it's the right thing to do. Can I do it in my own way, though? Can I insult him, but still attack what happened to him? You sure? Okay, cool. How's it, everybody? So Anton Taylor, the wannabe political commentator, wannabe comedian, wannabe actor, has been raided by the Hawks because he made a upsetting video of Senzo Mchunu. Yeah, that's right. Now, don't get me wrong. I get the irony in all of this. You know, the fact that the guy that celebrated my downfall has now actually been raided by the Hawks because of a video that he made. Yeah, go figure. Anyway, for those of you that don't know, this is Anton Taylor. Yeah, I know. Too much info, right? Anyway, this guy who's made a living out of doing everything just not to have a 9-to-5 job has now been raided by the Hawks because he made a video that was so offensive to Senzo Mchunu, the then police minister, that the police minister in actual fact got the Hawks to raid his house in order to get access to his cell phone. Now, the question is, what did he say? Well, let's have a listen and, just get your vomit bag ready, because I know whenever you see his face and you hear his voice, it is vomit inducing. So I'm just warning you guys.
Guys, we are catching Imkwanazi. We did it. I'm so happy, guys. We're catching him. It's like Christmas or day my divorce comes through with my third wife, that bitch. As you know, I
also like how mainstream media is defending this guy, but I understand that he's playing a character, hyperbole, but yet he just calls women bitches and nobody has got a problem with that. But anyway.
The foreign criminal in South Africa. And I'm making a lot of money off the drugs, the hijackings, and the cash in transit. But this general, Kwanazi, has been big problem, okay? He's killing my criminals in KZN like dogs. This Imkwanazi is attacking my wallet. I'm not going to Mauritius for the holidays. I'm going to Gordons Bay. And I'm not getting these high-class escorts anymore. I must buy the prostitutes from the Kenilworth. It's big dive for me and I'm very unhappy. Recently, my guy, Senzo Mchunu, the head of police, is finally saying he's coming for Imkwanazi. Masibioze, guys, halala. I had to pay Mchunu a lot of money. And I'm giving him a BMW and I'm paying for the 3 prostitutes.
You get the point. This is comedy these days, apparently. Anyway, so you heard what he said about Senzo Mchunu, about the BMW and the 3 prostitutes. So Senzo Mchunu saw the video and then pretty much abused state resources to get Anton Taylor's phone through a Hawks raid on his property. So he wasn't at his home when they raided it, and they apparently needed like 10 to 11 Hawks officials to be there in order to get a phone. Yeah. So, this is so hard. What happened to Anton Taylor is just completely not acceptable in South Africa. Why are you using state resources and taxpayers' money to go after somebody that said something negative about the police minister? You see, the government and some elements in the media are very quick to say, yes, we need this new legislation that you can't speak ill about the government. But this is what's going to happen. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm high on the list, and so are many other podcasters, where you're going to see the government officials and the police ministers and whomever abuse their powers and abuse taxpayers' money to send the Hawks after somebody like Anton Taylor, wannabe comedian, wannabe political commentator, wannabe actor. Anyway, I have to get it in, guys. I have to get it in. So ultimately, there is a massive issue with this. We live in a country with 84 murders every single day, a violent sexual crime taking place every few seconds, and ultimately, what the Hawks is doing is going to raid a wannabe celebrity's house to get access to his phone because he said some things that is offensive to the former police minister. Well, surprise, surprise, here we are now with Senzo Mchunu not being the police minister anymore because in actual fact he did allegedly do some dodgy dealings in order to make sure that certain individuals weren't investigated. So ultimately, you, the taxpayer, are paying for vanity projects, if you will. I didn't like what somebody said about me. Okay, let me use and abuse my powers and send the Hawks to go and investigate. What I want to know is how many hundreds of thousands of rands did this cost? Because firstly, the Hawks had to use cell phone towers to triangulate where this loser was. And then when they found out, they had to sigh deeply because it's Anton Taylor. I'm sorry, I'm getting back on track. So anyway, they spent money on triangulating where he was. They had to pay these Hawks officials to go there. I don't know if they had to fly there, if they needed to stay in a hotel, if there was time and resources spent on investigating where Anton Taylor was at that day or the day before. Ultimately, we know that this was hundreds of thousands of rands of taxpayers' money that was used because Senzo Mchunu's feelings was hurt. Very much like Anton Taylor's feelings was hurt when I said some stuff about him. Shame. Okay. Ultimately, Senzo Mchunu and the government is just illustrating to you why these censorship laws are terrible. Because ultimately it gives the politicians that we already don't trust the power to decide on who they raid and who they go after because of things that are said that they might not like. So ultimately, Anton Taylor, what happened to him is definitely not kosher. It's definitely not acceptable. Even though, if you want to speak in calmer terms, this was long overdue. But ultimately, this is just a clear illustration again of the government abusing their taxpayers through taking money that should be spent on actually investigating real crime and finding real criminals. Instead, they go after Anton Taylor. Yeah. That's pretty much where we are in South Africa at the moment. Real criminals that are kidnapping children, killing people, sexually assaulting people, raping women, raping men. All of the violent crimes that are taking place in this country, that is not as important as making sure you get Anton Taylor's cell phone in a raid. Because literally, they had to use between 9 and 11, the number is not clear, but it's a lot of Hawks, to go into a house for one cell phone. Ultimately, what needs to happen here is Senzo Mchunu needs to be held accountable for wasting state resources, and he needs to pay back the money that it cost. Because, we have serious crime in this country, and the fact that the Hawks are distracted from dealing with serious crime and they have to now get 10 people to go and raid a house for one cell phone tells you exactly what's wrong with this country. So to end off this video, it's quite clear that Senzo Mchunu is not qualified to be the police minister of South Africa. Besides what Nkwanazi alleged, we now see that his skin is also so thin, and whenever somebody has something negative to say about him, he's willing to waste state resources and to take the Hawks away from fighting serious crime and allocate them to his own vanity project. It really tells you why South Africa is in the mess that it's in. But to end off this video, Anton, get a job, buddy. Like seriously, get a real job. We all know that you want to be an actor, you want to be a comedian, and sometimes a political commentator. But buddy, you're just a wanker. Ultimately, just get a real job. I know it's difficult for bros like you, that came out of matric and thought that your swagger will get you a job. No, unfortunately not. But hey, dude, whatever blows your hair back, right? I mean, if you want to pleasure yourself again to some of my videos, who am I to judge? That's pretty much all I got to say. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please be sure to subscribe. Please be sure to smash that like button. Please be sure to share this video far and wide. And if you enjoy my content, please consider becoming a member. You can do so by clicking the join button below. And that's pretty much all I got to say. Calm as a bitch. Till later. Cheers and peace out.
You don't even know me, my massacre. You don't even know me, but everybody see you say, my massacre, my massacre. You don't even know me, but everybody see you say, my massacre, my massacre.